This index exists to expose how Kristi Noem's announcement on Real ID is not just a bureaucratic update. Real ID is the activation of a nationwide biometric surveillance system that was quietly built over 20 years. This index shows how Real ID connects to federal facial recognition databases like HART, interstate tracking systems, S2S, and automated enforcement tools, robotic dogs. It dismantles the lie that this is just an ID and lays bare the truth that Trump had every opportunity to stop it but didn't. In fact, he helped finish it, while posing as a populist and pushing a fake swamp-draining narrative as absurd as his latest 6'3", 224 pounds physical. The index also takes direct aim at the MAGA influencer class, now defending Real ID out of loyalty, vanity, for shekels, or willful ignorance, turning resistance into compliance theater. It wasn't a press release, it was a quiet surrender. The Real ID announcement is DHS's final warning. Starting May 7th, 2025, Americans without a federally compliant Real ID won't be allowed to board domestic flights or enter federal buildings. That star on your license isn't decorative, it means your ID has been standardized, scanned, and uploaded into an interstate network accessible by federal agencies. What's being enforced now is the infrastructure they've been building since 2005. It's no longer optional. It's the soft launch of a national ID system. Kristi Noem's Real ID announcement didn't arrive like a policy change. It arrived like a software update you forgot to disable. Quiet, routine, irreversible. The rollout was so polished it felt pre-approved by the State Department. I criticized Kristi Noem for being unimpressive at best. Of course, hordes of MAGA women, indistinguishable from leftist feminists, got their panties in a bunch and proclaimed, "Kristi Noem is more impressive than you." My goodness, I apologize. Of course she's better than me. She's better at executing puppies in cold blood, better at getting so many facelifts she looks like an uglier version of Blair White. And she's definitely better at turning MAGA into a defense contractor thirst trap. She bragged about more than 99% compliance in 2019 and said, "The deadline will have no impact on those with a Real ID." That wasn't passive compliance, that was early adoption. The Real ID Act passed in 2005, but it was designed to lie dormant. States resisted, and DHS used flight restrictions and funding threats to crush that resistance. By 2021, every single state had caved. No one voted for it. No one stopped it. And Kristi Noem didn't just accept it, she led the charge. South Dakota didn't become secure, it became searchable. A Real ID is facial recognition ready, plugged into S2S, a pointer system connecting all 50 state DMVs, and formatted for HART, the $6 billion biometric database DHS built to identify people in real time, including protesters and political threats. The S2S system links all 50 DMVs through a private contractor, creating a national pointer network that AAMVA itself calls one big database. It can be expanded without public debate. Once your Real ID is scanned, your photo and records can be accessed across federal systems without a warrant. That's confirmed, that's live. And it was all made possible by state-level politicians smiling at DMV stats while DHS locked in the infrastructure. HART, for its part, doesn't just store faces, it ingests irises, fingerprints, and behavioral data, accessible by multiple agencies, even foreign partners. And the scary part? Agencies like ICE and the FBI have already used DMV photo databases for facial recognition searches without warrants, confirmed by FOIA releases and reports from Georgetown Law's Center on Privacy and Technology. These aren't theoretical abuses, they're operational realities. Real ID images are built to feed it, and while this was being wired in, the influencers went offline. The MAGA class didn't fight Real ID. They put on gloss and filmed "Just Renew It, Hun" compliance tutorials. These aren't liberty defenders when they aren't fighting each other to have Elon's next baby. They're just surveillance sales reps in red lipstick. They're not educating their audiences. They're tranquilizing them not because they understand Real ID, but because they don't want to admit Trump helped build it. DHS even launched a campaign called Be Your Real ID Self, as if biometric compliance is a personal branding choice. This didn't go live in 2005. It goes live in 2025. May 7th is when the enforcement kicks in. No Real ID, no flight, no entry to federal buildings. DHS has full power to expand that list with zero congressional oversight. The Real ID Act says official purposes include, but are not limited to, flying and federal access. They don't need a bill, they just need a memo. The list can grow to include banks, polling places, even pharmacies. That's not policy. That's a loaded weapon waiting for a justification. And they'll say it's for security, just like they always do. But where's the threat? The government can't point to a single terrorist or criminal who's been caught because of Real ID. The system doesn't prevent bad actors, it makes movement conditional for good ones. It's not about stopping crime, it's about creating a permission-based existence and hiding it inside the DMV. And what enforces it won't even look human. Robotic dogs are already in deployment. DHS is testing them on the border. Police are using them in New York City and Boston. They're camera loaded, networked, and in some trials, armed. With Real ID and HART connected, they won't ask for your ID. They'll just scan your face, cross-check you, and log your movements in real time. It's not a checkpoint, it's an always-on biometric perimeter. And once weaponized, enforcement won't just be silent, it'll be mechanized. Trump had 4 years to stop this. He did the opposite. His DHS made Real ID a top priority. His administration accelerated compliance deadlines, praised state integration, and helped lay the digital pipes this whole thing runs on. In 2020, his DHS passed the Real ID Modernization Act, allowing states to upload documents digitally and issue mobile-compliant Real IDs during lockdowns. He didn't fight the system. He digitized it, he signed the modernization package, and let DHS expand enforcement authority under the radar, all while posing as the guy who was going to drain the swamp. What he actually drained was the last constitutional buffer between you and a federally verified identity regime. And now he wants you to believe he's 224 pounds and in excellent health. That's not just a fake physical, it's a metaphor. And the state-level enforcers, they're not resisting, they're auditioning. Kristi Noem banned anti-Israel protests while cosplaying as a constitutionalist. She whitewashed her daughter's real estate license scandal with taxpayer funds, then shut down the ethics board that exposed it. She helped pass South Dakota's Real ID compliance early, then turned around and pushed election integrity laws that require that same ID to vote. She also pushed the Riot Boosting Act alongside TransCanada, a law that let pipeline companies sue protesters while banning support for resistance. Civil rights groups called it unconstitutional. They were right. Add in the Corey Lewandowski affair, and you're looking at a woman whose real skill isn't leadership. It's brand loyalty to surveillance, no matter who's in charge. So when they tell you it's just an ID, ask one question: connected to what? Because Real ID doesn't exist in isolation. It's tied to facial scanners, data hubs, real-time monitoring systems, and DHS enforcement levers that grow every year. It's not about the star on the card, it's about the system behind it, the one Trump helped build, the one Kristi Noem just plugged you into, and the one influencers are too loyal or too slow to warn you about.